for being here today. My name is Allie Proper, and I am the Tap Day Chair of the Cap and Skull Senior Honor Society. On behalf of the Cap and Skull Society and Rutgers University, it is my honor to welcome you to the tapping of the class of 2018. Not to understate the obvious, but today is a pretty big deal. It is a very happy and special day for the Cap and Skull undergraduates, both the incoming class and those turning the page on their undergraduate careers, the class of 2017. But also for the friends, families, mentors, and advisors present. Thank you to you all for joining us today. To begin today's ceremony, I would like to ask Cap and Skull's chairman, Joe Nedick, up to the podium. Thank you again for coming.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's an awesome day. Thank you so much for being here. Today we mark the 105th initiation, or as we call it, Tap Day, of new members into Cap and Skull. Cap and Skull is the senior class honor society at Rutgers University. It was founded over 117 years ago, just up the street on College Avenue in the Kaisai Lodge. And it was founded as a way to retain and strengthen the bonds forged between students on campus. And these relationships would start even before students made it to Rutgers. They would start in prep school, usually at Rutgers Prep. And these students saw a need on campus to recognize exceptional achievement in student leadership and in extracurricular activities. So Cap and Skull was founded to fill that purpose. And today, and throughout Rutgers history, our ranks have included some of Rutgers' most distinguished alumni. And today, I am proud to welcome our newest addition to those ranks, the class of 2018. Would you please join me in a round of applause for them? So as Allie mentioned, my name is Joe Nedick. I'm president and chairman of the Cap and Skull Society. I've been serving in this capacity for about 5 years now. I'm a member of the class of 2005, and I look back on my Tap Day as one of the happiest and fondest memories of my undergraduate career at Rutgers, and I know our alumni here most likely feel the same way. And for me, as I know for you, one of the happiest things about the day was that my parents and my grandparents and my brother were here to share this moment. And also with us today, I know we have professors, we have advisors, we have faculty members, administrators. So I think it's important to recognize that without the help and support of these individuals, you, the class of 2018, probably wouldn't be here today. So I think we owe all of those folks, the families, the friends, the faculty, students, fellow students, and advisors who are here to support you. Let's give them a welcome and a round of applause as well. I know we have a healthy contingent of Cap and Skull alumni. We have about 800 living Cap and Skull alumni all around the world, and it's an active, vibrant community. I want to just recognize a few. It's really important for me to point out Joe Cashin to you. Joe is the undergraduate advisor. He's a member of the class of 2014, and he's done an exceptional job shepherding and leading the undergraduate classes for a number of years now. And Joe is someone that you, the class of 2018, will get to know well. So Joe, I'm not sure where you are, but if you can just stand and be recognized, please. Tom Moeller, class of 1991, chair emeritus of Cap and Skull, and my predecessor, continues to be the conscience and guardian of the legacy of Cap and Skull. I just want to point out that in the last year, Tom has been putting the finishing touches on the Schenck Observatory restoration project. So that whole project has taken almost a decade to come to fruition since the initial discussions we had with Rutgers. And Cap and Skull helped to raise over $150,000 to restore that magnificent building. And we worked very closely with the Rutgers Foundation and with the physics department to pull this off, but it was kind of a sad state of affairs for a building that is on the National Register of Historic Places. It was literally rotting away, and today it's been marvelously restored, and it's just a shining example of what Cap and Skull is all about, and that's service to Rutgers, service to the community, and the maintenance of tradition. So Tom, I thank you for your efforts. I also want to thank Allie Croper, who's the Tap Day chair this year. She's done an amazing job, and she brings a great deal of spirit to this assignment, so thank you, Allie. And finally, I just want to recognize the class of 2017. I think this class truly represented the finest of the Rutgers tradition. And you guys not only gave us this wonderful class of 2018, but you worked really well together, and extremely hard together, to make it an exceptional year. And you certainly left your mark on Rutgers. I just ask, as you prepare to leave the banks, that you never forget your experience here and all the sacrifices that others made so that you could thrive here at Rutgers. And as you become alumni, and you change the world and become successful, I hope your hearts ever cling to this experience, this moment, this place, and that you become the super alumni that we want you to become, and that we expect you to become as members of the Cap and Skull. I want to recognize our Tap Day speaker who's here, Mitra Kalita, class of 1998. I am so happy to have you back on the East Coast, Mitra. I thought that we had lost you to California permanently, but it's funny how fate sometimes works, and we got Mitra back to the East Coast recently, and although she left and went west, she remained an active part of our alumni community, especially on social media. And I just love following her on Twitter, on Facebook, and all the great things that she's doing, and I'm really looking forward to what she has to share for all of you today. So please join me in welcoming Mitra. So I just want to talk about one other thing, and then I'll shut up and get moving. But I just want to highlight a personal perspective about what being tapped for membership in Cap and Skull means, especially because a lot of the family members and friends are probably thinking, what sort of organization is Cap and Skull? What group puts a skull and cap? And that's our, our symbol, our logo. And I've even had some people, when I've had my Cap and Skull pin on, say, "Are you like supporting death or a cult or something?" But I think it's important to understand the symbolism of what this is. And to me, it's the death of petty rivalries or allegiances, we say, or other things that have caused us to, lose sight of what's important and have stood in the way of our serving the Rutgers community or helping others. And just as an example, when I was a student, I decided to run for class president in my senior year. And I ran a pretty aggressive campaign, and it got a little nasty, right? So, but nevertheless, the class of 2004 saw fit to select me as a member of Cap and Skull. And on my tap day, lo and behold, in the pew in front of me were two of the other people that I ran against in the election. One of which is a lifelong friend and really changed my whole perspective at Rutgers and changed my life. So to me, it's almost a lost thing in today's society. We're so polarized, so focused on attacking each other. But here, it's an organization. We take 18 students out of literally thousands at Rutgers. And we put them into a group, and they have to work together, they have to get to know each other, they have to build trust because they have a monumental undertaking. And so that whole experience, I never would have interacted with those folks who I ran against. And we probably, would have considered ourselves enemies, right? But that whole time we spent senior year together changed everything. And I think that's the power of what Cap and Skull is. You guys in the class of 2018, you might have not even known each other existed at Rutgers, but now you get to spend your final year at Rutgers and experience that from a loftier plane of existence. So with that being said, I just want to congratulate the class of 2017 and the class of 2018 and welcome you all. This is a really special day. Enjoy it. Thank you so much. I'd like to recognize Gabrielle Gavadon from the class of 2017 to introduce our Tap Day speaker. Thank you.
Today we are excited to welcome back S. Mitra Kalita. S. Mitra graduated from Rutgers College in 1998 and is currently the Vice President for Programming at CNN Digital. She was previously Managing Editor for Editorial Strategy at the Los Angeles Times. During her year there, she helped LATimes.com traffic soar to nearly 60 million uniques monthly, innovated new forms of storytelling and audience engagement, and connected the Times to new communities via events, new beats, translations, and partnerships. However, her career has not only taken her across the country, but also across the world, with work in the continent of Africa and the country of India. She truly represents one of Rutgers' many mottos, Jersey Roots, Global Reach. We are very fortunate she's able to join us today, and we are happy she is taking the time to address the new class. Please welcome S. Mitra Kalita.
But more than that, thank you so much for having me and welcoming me back to the Banks. To be among my fellow Cap and Skulls, I mean, this is really such an honor for me to be here. I wanted to begin by congratulating the class of 2017 because this is going to be the beginning of many, many such speeches. So I tried to structure this one a little bit differently than what you might hear. We'll get into that in a moment. And a warm, warm welcome to the class of 2018. Congratulations especially to your parents and your family and your friends who are with us, who are probably the key reasons that you are sitting in these front pews today. So I thank them publicly, but make sure that you thank them profusely for the rest of today and for the rest of your lives. And a real special thank you to the alumni who were here. When I was in Cap and Skull, it was 97 that I got tapped and 98 that I graduated. It was a bit, I confess, of a resume booster, and the alum that came before us and after us have worked so hard to make this a group that is purposeful, that is truly inclusive, and is a great, great community. And you've done that partly through social media and Facebook and the groups that we all interact on, but really you've done that through the actions. And the project that Joe just spoke about is just the tip of the iceberg there. And I really am very, very grateful for the turnaround in this organization. So let's rewind to 20 years ago when I was in your position. It wasn't in this great austere setting. You were actually tapped in Winans Hall. But 20 years ago, I remember when I was tapped, it was a feeling of great pride that we had been chosen, just a few of us, among tens and thousands of Rutgers students for this honor. But if I'm really honest with you, and if I remember that day truly, truly to what I was feeling and thinking, I was also incredulous. And I think the conversation with myself went something like, wow, I was chosen? Did I really fool them? My housemate has done so much more for Rutgers than I have. Why didn't she make it? Do I belong? The good news is that I'm here to tell you today that you do. You do belong. The bad news is that there will be many times in your life and career that you ask yourself the same thing. And I have more bad news. There will be times in your life and in your career where you are not tapped, where you are not chosen, and where you're the outside looking in, like your housemate and some of those other haters. Just letting you know it's coming. But in those moments, we do have each other. And in those moments, you can call me, because now, you and me, we got this thing going on, right? You belong. And you can call me and I'll tell you that you belong. And I mentioned you're going to hear a lot of speeches over the next few weeks as you kind of go through the pomp and circumstance that is graduation and transition from one year to another, right? That is kind of what universities are built on. I'm going to leave it to people who are far greater experts in subject areas to talk broadly about the state of the world, and gosh, what a state it is right now. I have many, many thoughts on this, on race and journalism and diversity and democracy. And I spend my career strategizing the future of digital and of our industry and media. And we can talk about Hassan Minhaj last night at the White House Correspondents' Dinner and how he totally nailed it. But today I kind of wanted to go skull to skull, so I'm focusing my comments on the front 3 or 4 pews, although some of it might resonate with the folks behind them. And I thought it might be useful just to talk about what I would have told my younger self 20 years ago. And we're going to do this listicle style, because I'm not a digital innovator if I'm not going to kind of do the listicle. And I know from all of my time writing headlines on the internet that prime numbers do really, really well. So there's a reason that BuzzFeed and all those outlets are like 37 and, 57. Is 57 prime? Someone help me. I don't think it is. 13, 11. Anyway, I have a list of 11 things that I wanted to make sure you knew. So here we go. Number 1. This is a bad one. The first year after college is probably the worst year of your life. So for the class of 2017, great. And I'm so sorry for the class of 2017 to start on such a bad message. But I wanted to be honest, right? I promised that we would be honest today. So there's a few reasons for that. You're leaving your friends. You're going to have to figure out the ways of the workplace. You're going to have to forge a new relationship with your parents, especially if you're living with them again. That was me. And that was pre-recession, right? Pre-Great Recession. I was back with my parents. And I kind of liken it, the second worst year of your life might be your first year of college, or maybe that first semester, maybe the first few months, right? When you're trying to figure out people, and they're about to do this today, where you march down College Avenue, the incoming class, and they're all strangers, but they have to act like they get along, and you're meeting people in your space, and you gotta act, right? And it's not really comfortable. So there's this creation in your first year of college that might be familiar, but it's worse because you don't have the friends and the support that you've built over the last few years. And those of you who are here, it might be especially acute because you are the creme de la creme, and you've really built something here. So the first year of college, you have to, as the kids say, adult, and it's not so great. Thankfully, it gets better. Number 2, the most important decisions in life, at least for me, the first person you date and the last person you date. In between, a lot of crap. A lot of drama, a lot of things that just need to run their course but end. But remember, it's the first one that sets the standard, and it's the last one who improves it, right? It's the one who doesn't make you be anything other than you, who accepts you as you. You don't have to change yourself, and maybe even creates a better version of you, is the one that you're supposed to choose. And maybe you spend your life with that person if you so choose. Number 3, it is okay to have a life. Actually, you must. And I tell this to I'm concentrating this on you guys, because you guys are I'm in a room full of overachievers. I feel it, I'm getting nervous. I read some of your bios, I Googled some of you. It's really scary. I kind of was like that. I started working on my first book at 23. I published it 2 years later. I worked on another book, published it a few years later. That third one, though, has been more than a decade in the works. And every weekend, I'm just trying to get back to it. Yesterday, my husband said, it's beautiful outside, let's just drive to the beach. And we went to the beach. And in that moment, I thought, I am so glad I chose to have a life today. Because the alternative would have just been staring at 10 years plus a few more days on Bedford Park. But it's really necessary to take that time. You've got to go to things that have nothing to do with your job or kind of your resume. Museums, theater, telescopes, thank you, telescopes, to plays. Those things will help you do your job better when you get back from it. So have a life. Number 4, this was alluded to. I think you all know it because Rutgers has been on a kick, but go overseas. It's a really interesting time to say this as America looks inward, but that entire philosophy is at odds with the possibility and opportunity that travel and technology are affording us today. We will work for businesses that see no hope in America, no growth, no more potential in this country. Going overseas literally opens up new markets, new possibilities. It leapfrogs your career and challenges the way you do things. It actually forces you to explain why we do things. What do we do in America? Why is it this way? You will see America differently and you will see yourself differently. So go overseas. Number 5, opposite to number 4. It's never a good time to go overseas, or move, or take a new job, or get a fellowship, or do that thing that you've always wanted to do. It's never a good time. But the thing about opportunities are that they're never on your schedule. So when you find yourself confronted with an amazing gig, the thing you've always dreamed of, and you say, it's just not a good time, I want you guys to check yourselves. Will it ever be a better time than now? When I was asked to go to India, I was working at the Washington Post, a paper that everybody has heard for. The paper in India didn't even have a name yet. I didn't know what I would be doing. I just knew that I was needed. And we decided to do it. And I would say every opportunity that came after that was a direct result of that decision, that kind of impulsive decision to just move our family over there. Joe mentioned this 2 years ago. I was offered the job of managing editor of the LA Times. I had 2 kids. One of them was pretty young. The other one had been in a school that we felt like we were set for life. It's a magnet school. If you've ever had to get your kids into school in New York City, you know that that was something huge I let go of. And we did it. And I have no regrets about it. We did end up coming back, which I'll talk about in a moment. But it's never a good time. Or maybe it's always a good time. Number 6, it's never a good time to have a kid. Parents can attest to this one, except when you came out and you were perfect. And I say this because the question of work-life balance is something that has become all ages, right? Everybody asks me about this. And it's really interesting because I've been a journalist for about 20 years now. 10 years ago, it used to be mostly just women who were about to get married asking me, how do you do this thing? And now it's young women in high school. It's young men in high school who are saying, how do you keep it together? I really want to make sure that I'm there for my family. And I want all these things, right? I want to be super successful. I want a huge house. I want a great family. And so the question only concerns me because I feel like you're starting to lean out before you even know what you're all about, right? Before you've found the passion, before you've kind of figured yourselves out. I do think having children is by far the best thing I ever did. But the best time to do so, I really don't know if I did it at the right time. It's kind of like going overseas. I made the time for the things that mattered most. And you can, for those of you who say, I don't want children, you can insert other hobbies, passions, activities into that. But know that it's never a good time for that. Number 7, oh, but it's the best thing you'll ever do. Number 7, prepare for opportunity. So I don't believe that 80% of life is just showing up, right? Whoever says that is wrong. I really think you have to prepare and rehearse and make mistakes and do it over and over and over and learn from all of that. But please do not show up and expect good things to happen to you. Oftentimes I'll be in meetings and I'll look at someone and be like, God, that guy really rocked it today. How did he do that? How did he do that? I don't really know. The answer is not for me to go to Toastmasters or speech writing class or how to present, or it's just to prepare better, right? It's just to show up to that table and come equipped to play ball. So prepare. Although no offense to Toastmasters, it's an amazing organization. Number 8, you're actually quite confident in your 20s, so after that first year after college, something magical happens. You got your stuff together, and that's all of you. You all got your stuff together. Use that confidence to your advantage. It's only when you get to be my age and a little bit older that the complexities of things start to get in the way of yourself, right? So while you're confident, build your career. Try those things. Move around. Go crazy. I think your 20s are so foundational. Number 9, someone at some point will ask you to do the wrong thing. And it is in those moments that you must figure out what you stand for. Who are you willing to speak up for? Who are you willing to fight for? What are you willing to quit over? It helps if you find something that centers you, or maybe a person who centers you. In my case, it's my kids in the morning. So every morning, I got 2 kids like in my space, right? And it's annoying, but there's also a purity of that moment. It kind of sets my day up, and it gives me a reminder of what's important, right? So for me, whenever I'm working somewhere and it's either not working, or someone asks me to do something that feels unethical, or perhaps goes against everything that I know who I am to be, I think about that moment. It is my centering moment, and I try not to compromise the purity of that moment. So I figured out what I stood for and found something to ground me. Number 10, be vulnerable. So success in many ways is based on the relationships we form with each other and how people might perceive us. But I worry that we become so transactional and clinical with each other that we aren't actually letting our guards down to have those conversations with a former opponent for the university senate or the class presidency that get us a little bit more honest. And not being honest and not being vulnerable is a terrible way to work. It's a terrible way to live. It's a really not great Facebook status either, I can tell you. Because people can see right through it. So you gotta let people in. It's okay to show vulnerability, which is actually very different from insecurity. So an example, I really care about this project. Let people know. Or, I'm super sad this week because my dog is sick, right? Let people know why you might be off. We all need to get a lot more real with each other. And actually, it is the ultimate sign of showing confidence. So be vulnerable. Number 11 is the last one. Everything will change. We know this to be true. And our institutions have not been the best at prepping us for this. And I say this as a journalist speaking in an academic setting in the walls of a church. Okay? All of those institutions, media, higher education, religion, just think about the drastic upheaval that they've seen in the last 25 years, 10 years, 5 years. And for those of us who work in them, the last year, you can think about Snapchat filters, emojis, Instagram stealing, Snapchat storytelling device, or saying that they were inspired by it. I was at the Shorty Awards a few nights ago, and do any of you know this guy who was a Viner, Thomas Sanders, by any chance? Yeah, okay. So, you know, R.I.P. Vine from this past year, totally went under. And so he's there, and he's like in a great mood, and I was like, hey, Tom, like, just totally like getting, because he's so personable. And I was like, so what happens to you now? You're like the world's biggest viner, and now there's no more vines, so what happens to you? And he was like, oh, I'm good. I figured out my message. That was just the platform. I figured out my message, right? Think about what that says. I figured out who I am. I figured out what I want to say. So everything will change. Your ability to survive and thrive is entirely based on two things. One, how strong your foundation is. And two, how well you can adapt. So change is inevitable. Adapting, growing from it is not. Everything will change. So that's my list. To conclude, I turn to the man I consider the ultimate skull, a personal hero of my family before I even came to Rutgers, before I even became a skull. And I speak, of course, of Paul Robeson. I quote from the lyrics of one of his songs, "I Still Suits Me." When you come to the end of a perfect day and you sit alone with your thought, while the chimes ring out with a carol gay, for the joy that the day has brought, do you think what the end of a perfect day can mean to a tired heart? When the sun goes down with a flaming ray, and the dear friends have to part. Well, this is the end of a perfect day, near the end of a journey too. But it leaves a thought that is big and true, with a wish that is kind and true. For memory has painted this perfect day, with colors that never fade, and we find at the end of a perfect day, the soul of a friend with me. My fellow skulls, my fellow friends, I hope your days are perfect, I really do. I'm telling you that they won't be. But more importantly, I hope they are so full of purpose. I hope that you are purposeful in all that you do. I am counting on that for the sake of all of our futures. Thank you so much for having me.
To present our candidates for membership, to recite the history, and to perform the initiation ceremony, I now call to the podium Justin Liu, High Skull of the class of 2017.
Thank you everyone for coming once again. This is an amazing turnout. But before I begin, I'd just like to give another huge shout out to Mitra Kalita for a rousing speech and for your inspiration today. So thank you very much. So this year, I had the absolute honor and pleasure to serve as the high skull of the class of 2017. It has been an amazing year of ups and downs, of learnings, and I gotta say, all of this is due to the fact that I had an amazing team to work with, and that's in the form of these seniors that are sitting before you today. They're all incredibly brilliant, funny, fantastic, and amazing in all their respective fields. And I gotta say, every time I'm with them, whether it's in a meeting or hanging out, they just inspire me to become a better person and a better professional. So I want to give a huge shout out to them. Without them, we would not be here today. So thank you. Right now, we come to the moment where we've all been waiting for, and that's to honor the new incoming class of 2018. So following cap and skull tradition, we'll share with you a little bit about Rutgers' history, followed by the introduction of a member of the new class of 2018. So each tappee will be robed, signifying their membership into this ancient organization. And I ask that the audience please hold all applause until all the names are called.
On November 10, 1766, William Franklin, the last colonial governor of New Jersey, signs the charter that brings Queen's College into existence. Established to train young men for the ministry in the Dutch Reformed Church, the new college is named in honor of Charlotte of Mecklenburg, consort of King George III. Daniel Corey. Dan Corey is from Middletown, New Jersey. He studies marketing at the Rutgers Business School and journalism at the School of Communication and Information. In the past, Dan was the editor-in-chief of the Daily Targum, the second oldest college newspaper in the U.S., as well as the program director of WRSU-FM Rutgers Radio. He's currently a teaching assistant in the Business School's Department of Marketing and an intern at CBS Radio News in New York. After graduation, Dan's excited to pursue a career in the news media.
In 1774, Queen's College holds its first commencement exercises. 19-year-old Matthew Lake is the entire graduating class. 20 years later, the trustees raised $12,000 and reopened the college the next year. On April 27, 1809, the cornerstone of the first building, Old Queens, is laid by President Ira Condé. Considered by experts to be one of the nation's finest examples of federal period architecture, the building will take 14 years and more than twice its projected budget to complete. 3 years later, a depressed economy in the War of 1812 forces the college to close for the second time. Anthony Malika. Anthony Malika grew up in East Brunswick, New Jersey, and currently resides in Hightstown, New Jersey. He is double majoring in journalism and Italian, and has gotten his certificate in digital filmmaking through Mason Gross School of Arts. Anthony works for the Student Affairs Marketing Office, where he's been able to hone in on his video skills and create promotional content for all things Rutgers Student Affairs. Outside of his video work, Anthony serves as the director of the Arts and Culture Committee for the Rutgers University Programming Association, aka RUPA, where he leads a group of 5 other amazing students to create fun and educational events for the RU community.
In November 1825, the college reopens, this time for good. In December, the trustees renamed the College in honor of Colonel Henry Rutgers, a Revolutionary War hero and member of President Philip Milidore's parish. In the next year, Rutgers College gets a donation from its namesake, a $200 bell that is hung from the cupola of the Old Queens building. Later in the year, the Colonel donates the interest on a $5,000 bond. Colonel Rutgers dies in 1930, leaving a third of his estate to charity, but nothing else is earmarked for Rutgers College. Katarina Brandt. Katarina Brandt is from Gilbert, Arizona, double majoring in geography and environmental planning. Kate has been heavily involved in the Livingston Theater Company as the assistant managing director. She is a sister of the Phi Nu chapter of Phi Nu fraternity, where she is a connected member with the local Children's Miracle Network Hospital. After completing a community-based research program on flooding and disaster management in Belize this summer, she cannot wait to take on her senior year at Rutgers. She looks forward to serving her fellow students as a representative in Rutgers University Student Assembly, continuing her involvement in activities and research, and sharing her Rutgers pride with everyone she knows in her last year as an undergraduate.
In 1831, the Alumni Association of Rutgers College is formed, and in 1845, the first Greek letter fraternity at Rutgers, Delta Phi, is founded. Both Delta Phi and Zeta Phi, Rutgers' second fraternity, are labeled subversive by the faculty and are outlawed. The fraternities go underground and become secret societies. In 1863, the impact of the Civil War is felt as enrollment at the college drops to 64. Of the 25 students and 58 alumni who fought in the war, 16 are killed. Alexander Lopez Perez. Alexander Lopez Perez is a native of New Brunswick, and he studies English and education in the School of Arts and Sciences. Alexander is an ambassador for the Student Access and Education Equity, a mentor, ambassador, and fundraiser for the Rutgers Future Scholars Program. Alex would like you to know that he's really excited for the summer, but above all, that he is thankful for his teachers and family, especially his parents, who taught him the valuable lesson in believing in the people who believe in you, for they have every right to.
In 1864, the state legislature picks Rutgers Scientific School over Princeton University to be the state land-grant college by 1 vote, a feat almost wholly attributed to George H. Cook, who lobbied ferociously. The Dutch Reformed Church also severs its last ties with Rutgers. Both events paved the way for Rutgers' eventual role as the state university. Hope McCraw. Hope McCraw is from Brandon, Oregon, and moved to New Jersey in 2013 to live with her sister. She's a linguist and poli-sci double major in the School of Arts and Sciences, and is one of 8 children, and is very good at multitasking. She's also a cadet at the Rutgers Army ROTC program, a proud DRC woman, and a resident assistant on the Cook-Douglas campus. She's extremely excited to go to Romania this summer to help with the English learning students, and go to Fort Knox, Kentucky to sweat away the freshman 15 during Army training.
In 1869, a banner year for student activities,
Phi Beta Kappa and the Scarlet Letter are founded. The school paper is launched under the name Target, which is period slang for cheat sheet. And scarlet is adapted as the school color because no flags are orange. The first choice can be found. On November 6th, Rutgers defeats Princeton 6 runs to 4 in the first intercollegiate football game ever played. For headgear, the Rutgers team would wear their scarlet scarves into turbans atop their heads. Christopher Markosian. Christopher Markosian is from Ridgefield, New Jersey, and is pursuing a major in molecular biology and biochemistry with a minor in biochemistry. He is very passionate about research, and he serves as editor-in-chief of the Rutgers Research Review. He also has a passion for teaching, as he was a peer instructor and will soon be serving as a senior peer instructor in the Oresti Research Center and a teaching assistant as well. He is looking forward to continuing to contribute to this amazing university during his final years on the base. He ultimately plans on attending medical school and specializing in orthopedic oncology.
In 1873, Howard N. Fuller, his class of 74, writes On the Banks, the alma mater. Kirkpatrick Chapel, which will also have served as a library and a classroom space for many years, is dedicated. 2 years later, under cover of darkness, 9 men of the class of 1877 set out to steal back the Revolutionary War-era cannon Princeton had stolen from Rutgers some years before. It takes the men 2 hours to drag the 1,088-pound cannon 200 yards to the horse-drawn wagon, and several hours to cart it back to New Brunswick, where it is triumphantly unloaded in front of Old Queens. Their heroism is short-lived. They nabbed the wrong cannon. Trevor Stanton. Trevor Stanton is from Teaneck, New Jersey, studying finance and supply chain management at the Rutgers Business School. He was recently elected president of Phi Chi Theta, a professional business fraternity on campus, where he works with fellow members to develop their professional skills and host networking events for students. As an RBS ambassador, he also gets to share his Scarlet pride and passion for the business school with prospective students through tours and information sessions. He's involved with several mentorship programs on campus and hopes to inspire those around him to become leaders in the fields they're passionate about.
2 years after students moved into the campus's first dormitory, Winnes Hall, a Rutgers legend was created in 1892 when Princeton football team breaks the leg of the Rutgers' biggest player, Frank Ottenkrant. While being carried from the field, Pop is claimed to have mumbled, "I'd die for dear old Rutgers." The saying has become a slogan for school spirit and the old college trap. In the same year, the College of Pharmacy is founded, and James Dixon Carr, a son of a Presbyterian minister from Elizabeth, becomes the first African-American graduate from Rutgers. Saqib Jalal. Saqib Jalal is from Edison, New Jersey, and studies computer science. Saqib is the president of USACS, the premier computer science student organization, which has been his pride and joy throughout his undergraduate career. His passion for community building follows into his other endeavors. He has directed Hack RU, the official Rutgers hackathon, and Hack Hers, the women-centric Rutgers hackathon, for 5 semesters. He was the class of 2016 Fellow of Hack NY, a fellowship and community for young startup technologists in New York City, and is excited to be an official mentor for the next class of 2017. Saqib loves mentoring his fellow students and is very excited to teach his first year interest group seminar for exploring computer science next semester.
On January 18, 1900, 10 members of the senior class of Rutgers College assembled in the Chi Psi Lodge on College Avenue and began to define what would become the greatest honor a Rutgers student could aspire to. Drawing inspiration from Skull and Bones, Yale's senior honor society, Cap and Skull seeks to identify and bring together the top leaders of the Rutgers College senior class. That night, the 10 founders drew up a Cap and Skull constitution, adopted the Code of Secrecy and the motto Spectator Agendo, "Let us be judged by our actions." To ensure that the group would remain highly selective, selection of a new member would require a unanimous vote of the current members. As a result, over the first 2 decades of the society, no more than 8 men per year became Cap and Skull members. Cindy Lay. Cindy Lay is from Camden, New Jersey, and she studies public policy with a minor in health and society and a certificate in health disparities. Cindy is a proud Vietnamese first-generation student, and she's the co-president of the Asian Student Council. With her passion to create change, she has been determined to attack health disparities regarding mental health in communities of color through her research in the Ronald E. McNair Postbaccalaureate Achievement Program. Additionally, Cindy serves as a mentor at the Asian American Cultural Center. Her experiences at Rutgers will forever shape her journey as an agent of change in her pursuit of graduate studies and giving back to the community.
The New Jersey College for Women, now Douglas College, opens in 1918. In the next year, Paul Robeson, the only African American in his class and the third in Rutgers history, gives the valedictorian address at commencement. Legend has it that Paul Robeson said his greatest Rutgers achievement was not his 15 varsity letters, his selection as All-American football player, Phi Beta Kappa, or class valedictorian. It came when he was tapped for captain's goal. Nancy Wong. Nancy Wong is from Sewell, New Jersey, and is majoring in political science with a double minor in women and gender studies and Chinese. Nancy is the founder of Are You Progressive, one of the largest political student organizations on campus. Nancy is also a proud feminist and Douglas woman, previously involved in the Douglas Orientation Committee and the Women in Creativity House. Additionally, Nancy is a leadership scholar at the Institute for Women's Leadership and an undergrad associate at the Eagleton Institute of Politics. Through the Leadership and Experiential Learning Department and the Pilot Me Mentoring Program, Nancy has forged a connection with New Brunswick and is eager to work on her social action project to aid New Jersey families next year.
The 1920s found the college recovering from the First World War, and the Skulls began to re-examine their selection criteria. Under the new system, each leadership position and honor on campus is awarded a point value, and students with the highest cumulative value are selected for induction into Captain Skull. In 1923, the number of members to be tapped each year is fixed at 12, and a trifold criteria for selection was established. Activities and athletics on campus, scholarship, and character and service to Rutgers. The Society's skull emblazoned caps are introduced in 1924 and are still worn today in honor of Captain Skull's history, spirit, and tradition. Mohammed Askar. Mohammed Askar is from Kendall Park, New Jersey, and he studies civil engineering and political science. Mohammed is a founder and current president of the Muslim Public Relations Council, an umbrella group of all the other Muslim student organizations on campus. Mohammed is also very excited to be the Vice President of Leadership for RUAA Scarlet Council, an organization that helps bridge the gap between alumni and students. While he will be striving to make his mark at Rutgers next year, Mohammed can't wait to explore the world of politics after law school.
In 1921, the College of Agriculture, later renamed in honor of George H. Cook, opened, and 3 years later, Rutgers College officially becomes Rutgers University. In 1928, the Holland Society of New York presents Rutgers with the statue of William II that stands in Voorhees Mall. Contrary to campus myth, Willie's purpose is to symbolize the university's ties to the Dutch Reformed Church, not to whistle at passing virgins. And in 1937, Captain Skull, with an increasing complexity and number of college activities and positions, as well as the belief that initiates should demonstrate leadership in positions across campus, the point system is abandoned for a new system, which still results in a final selection of 12 members. Megan Kennedy. Megan Kennedy is from Old Bridge, New Jersey, and is a linguistics and Spanish major. For the past 2 years, she has served as the president of Take Back the Tap, a campaign focused on water privatization issues. Currently, she is president-elect of Students for Environmental Awareness. Megan also works in the Language Acquisition Research Lab, studying the effects of acoustic cues on childhood speech acquisition. Her most valued experience at Rutgers so far has been her time mentoring college students who are on the autism spectrum. In the coming years, Megan aspires to become a speech-language pathologist who works with differently abled populations.
With the onset of World War II, many of the best and brightest members of the Rutgers community put aside college careers and activities to serve our country. Only 10 members were selected for Captain Skull in 1944, and no one is tapped in 1945. Though the society took a brief hiatus, the student body had not forgotten the honor of induction into the group. Upon reporting the December tapping of 4 new members, the Targum noted, election to Captain Skull is the highest honorary distinction a Rutgers undergraduate can achieve. Captain Skull resumes the traditional 12-member selection in 1948. Damilola Onifade. Damilola Onifade is from Paterson, New Jersey. She is studying political science with a minor in economics. On campus, she is involved in RU Voting as a student coordinator, where she assists with the organization's Get Out the Vote efforts. She is a member of the RUAA Scarlet Council and a director of Shades, an educational acting group on campus. She is a proud Douglas woman and has served as a peer academic leader in DRC housing and previously served as Barbara Voorhees' mentor. She truly appreciates the opportunities Rutgers has given her to engage in active citizenry and hopes to pursue something in that realm in the future.
A year after Rutgers is declared the state university, it merges with the University of York. In October 1946, a contingent of Rutgers men slips onto the Princeton campus and again tries to steal the famed cannon. They attach one end of a heavy chain to the cannon and the other to their Ford. Surprised by Princeton men and security, they gun the engine of the Ford so viciously that the car is torn in half. The Rutgers Army manages to escape, but with neither car nor cannon. Vineet R. Shenoy. Vineet Shenoy is from West Windsor, New Jersey, and is an electrical engineering and computer science major. Vineet is the president of the Rutgers Engineering Honors Council. He also serves as the Engineering Futures Chair of Rutgers Tau Beta Pi, a national engineering society, and hosts professional development activities for students. In the larger university community, he served as a first-year interest group seminar peer instructor. He looks forward to working with his peers to serve dear old Rutgers.
In 1950, Rutgers merges with the College of South Jersey and its School of Law to create Camden Campus. On January 31st, 1950, an all-day gala celebration is held in honor of Captain Skull's golden anniversary, the first of its 10-year reunions that are still held today. The Golden Anniversary celebrates the 440 men selected as members of the society during the first 50 years. 6 years later, in 1956, Rutgers becomes the state university and is an instrumentality of the state of New Jersey. Thomas Monahan. Thomas Monahan is from Bergenfield, New Jersey, majoring in economics and minoring in German. Tommy spends most of his time on campus working with Rutgers Colleges Against Cancer and will serve as president of the organization next year. He found his passion for finding a cure for cancer through his involvement in Relay for Life, a worldwide charity event for the American Cancer Society. His most unique experience at Rutgers so far has been his opportunity to teach a first-year interest group seminar to 25 first-year students last semester by sharing his love for economics and inspiring young minds. He is very excited to spend the summer at JP Morgan & Chase in New York City and spend next semester in Berlin, Germany, where he hopes to polish his German language skills and continue learning outside of the classroom.
In 1961, the same year in which Rutgers Medical School is founded, John Bateman coaches the football team to its first undefeated season in history. 3 years later, in 1964, the federal government gives Rutgers the 540 acres that served as the Army's Camp Kilmer. 5 years later, the site becomes Livingston College. Through the 1960s, sweeping social changes were occurring. Organizations such as Captain Skull, selected by nature, and thus ultimately exclusive to most, came under scrutiny. In 1969, Captain Skull graduates its last class, a victim of the era. Deep Kotadia. Deep Kotadia is an international student from Mumbai, India, who studies computer science and economics. Last year, as a university research assistant with a computer science professor, Deep developed a novel teleconferencing platform, the Video Wall, which is today revolutionizing the way virtual and online classes are held between Rutgers campuses of New Brunswick, Newark, and Campton. He is currently a resident assistant in Allen Hall on Bush campus. He is a proud formal orientation leader, was a MARC conference captain for the recently concluded 2017 MARC Leadership Conference, which this year became the largest student-run leadership conference on the East Coast. He loves teaching, hence is very excited to teach a first-year interest group course next semester.
Captain Skull may have left campus in 1969, but the alumni of Captain Skull retained their close ties and the underlying need for the organization remains. In 1981, class president Timothy Peterson and class vice president Bradford Bucket discussed the need for an organization or honor that would recognize the leadership contributions made by members of the senior class. With the help of Dean Howard Crosby, a Captain Skull member, the society reemerges in 1982, and a reunion is held to celebrate the tapping of new members and the society's rebirth. Evan Cabello. Evan Cabello is from Wayne, New Jersey, and is a double major with planning, public policy, and human research management. Evan now serves as the president of FRUSA, the undergraduate student government of Rutgers University. As president, he hopes to bring the community together to make a difference on the issues that matter to students. Evan is also passionate about working with students across the country, as he is currently the associate director for the Association of Big Ten Students. He has also been involved with the Google Community Leaders Program and the Eagleton Institute for Politics. Through his involvement and experience, he's looking to help strengthen the student voice and improve the Rutgers experience for all students on campus.
On November 19, 2012, the Rutgers Board of Governors approves the acquisition of UMDNJ, thus giving the university a medical school. On the very same day, Rutgers accepts an invitation to join the Big Ten Conference. In 2013, the redevelopment of College Avenue begins the lyrics to On the Banks of the Old Raritan are changed to become more gender neutral. And on May 15, 2016, Rutgers highlighted the celebration of its 250th anniversary when the nation's 44th president, Barack Obama, gave the commencement address to the graduating class. This marked the first time a sitting U.S. president gave such an address to Rutgers University. Cecilia Salazar. Cecilia Salazar is from East Ward of Newark, New Jersey, and majors in public policy and political science. Her parents' immigration from Mexico in pursuit of a better life and future has always motivated Cecilia to pursue her dreams, and becoming a Rutgers Future Scholar allowed her to do so. She has had the honor of serving as the first Director of Advocacy for the Rutgers Residence Hall Association, the largest on-campus organization, and structuring advocacy as a pillar within the organization. She has worked with Dr. Stephen Gretchen as a research assistant, analyzing the use of transnational fluids in Belize, specifically those used for combating climate change. She hopes to attend law school after receiving her bachelor's degree to pursue her JD. Ladies and gentlemen, the class of 2018. Class of 2018, you guys can stay where you are right now. But now I'd like to invite the current High Cap and Bursar to the queue. So in my hand, I hold the pin, which is a symbol of Captain Skull. The cap signifies knowledge, which you have acquired at Rutgers. Use it always in her interest that you may be crediting her and her ideas. The skull signifies the death of petty ambitions, jealousies, or animosities that may have existed among you to the detriment of your alma mater. The ruby eyes in the skull indicates the new vision, which is now given to you as members of Captain Skull, that you may view the needs and interests of Rutgers from a loftier plane. The teeth of the skull are pearls, significant of the sacrifices which you have made for alma mater, for which you have been elected to membership in Captain Skull. Let them be a constant reminder never to cheapen them by any act or deed which might bring discredit to the society. So now, following tradition, I would like to introduce my role as the High Skull. Again, it was a very, very very important in my growth and development, particularly working with this wonderful class of seniors. I certainly learned to do things that I never had to do before, working with this amazing group of people. And it really was a great honor, and it was everything from leading the meetings to working with them outside of meetings, ultimately trying to make Rutgers a better place for all. But now it has come to my time to pass on the role of High Skull, and for this I would like to welcome Cecilia Salazar as
As the High Cap, my job is to assist the High Skull and assist the Versar, make sure that he has fun. And it's with great honor that I announce the High Cap of 2018, Trevor Stanley.
I'm the High Versar, kind of treasurer of Captain Skull. So it's a great honor to, I'm sorry, I'm not going to do this, to welcome the next High Versar of Captain Skull in 2018, Hope McCraw. We are assembled here today to invest in you men and women of Rutgers, the sacred trust, which falls upon you as a chosen of the Captain Skull Society of Rutgers University. The beginning of the 20th century saw the birth of a senior honorary society on the Rutgers campus. Captain Skull was founded in 1900 to honor those sons and daughters of Rutgers who have best exemplified the high traditions of Old Queens. Down through the years, the leaders in each succeeding class elected to membership those men and women who reflect the true spirit of Rutgers. You individuals have thus been singly honored.
You have been selected on the basis of your leadership, your character, and your contribution to Rutgers. Your election is a recognition of your achievements in the past and expectation of greater service in the years to come. Service to Rutgers University is the alpha and omega of Captain Skull. For many decades, this society has perpetuated the traditions and furthered the aims and ideals of Old Queens. Selfish motives and undue allegiance to minorities within the university have no part among the members of Captain Skull.
You have now been acquainted with the ideals of Captain Skull. As those who have been selected by this body to assume the cloak of responsibility for carrying forth into the future these ideals, you are required to take an oath of loyalty. If there be those among you who cannot subscribe to these ideals, I charge them to signify at this time by raising their left hand. That's good. All those then who subscribe to the ideals of Captain Skull will now raise their right hand and respond, I do. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that you shall forever be loyal to the sacred ideals of the Captain Skull Society of Rutgers University and will keep its secrets inviolate always? I do. Do you solemnly promise that henceforth you will eschew all petty allegiances which prevent you serving Rutgers and her ideals wholeheartedly? I do. Do you pledge that by your conduct, as a man or a woman and a representative of Rutgers, you shall reflect that which is finest in the Rutgers tradition? I do. Will you endeavor to never forget that upon you rests the responsibility which is implicit in your being called by your colleagues and the world beyond the campus, a loyal son or daughter of Rutgers? I do. By this act, we have placed upon you the mantle, the badge, and the obligations of Captain Skull. In your hands is now entrusted the honor and respect which men and women of Rutgers long ago learned to hold for the society and the character of the men and women in it. We charge you never to betray this trust. Thank you.
In closing, I would like to draw your attention to the inside back cover of your Tap Day program. Today we have all shared in one of the finest and meaningful traditions that is still alive and well at Rutgers. One of the things that makes this Tap Day ceremony so special is that it brings family, friends, alumni, and undergraduates together to celebrate the passing of our society's great legacy and tradition onto a new group of exceptional student leaders. For each alum, spouse, family member, or friend of a skull sitting here today, you know how important the Catholic school experience is and why it must continue being the bedrock of history, spirit, and tradition of this great institution. So, in a special way, we wish to salute the generous contributions of our alumni, along with those who have given their support to the society over the years. Without you, today's ceremony would not be possible. Finally, the procession will lead to tapping the class around the old Queen's Cannon. After pictures, I cordially invite everyone to join us for a reception in Winans Hall, which is in the building to your far right as soon as you exit the chapel. I would now like to invite Julia Mendez and Kate Brandt up to lead us in the alma mater. Thank you.
Just here.
And just to see the students up there on the stage, it brings a lot of pride to my heart. There's a lot of alumni behind the scenes who work very hard to keep Catholic Skull on campus, relevant, and part of the fabric of Rutgers. So to see that, all that work put on display today was really great. So I just want to say thank you and congratulations to the class of 2018. To the class of 2017, who will be graduating in just a few short weeks. So I want to talk about two things. You're going to need your cell phone. So if you can pull that out. So the first thing, we have a special guest with us today who I would call an adopted son of Catholic Skull, adopted son of Rutgers. With us we have Brian Cherry from Source 4. So about 2 years ago, Tom Muller and I had a conversation with Brian about how we could form a business partnership with Catholic Skull. Because we've struggled historically on, people are always asking me, how do I get Catholic Skull material? Like, how do I get a tie? How do I get a cap? I lost my pin. How do I get these things, right? So not only has Source 4 been printing our programs and our newsletters, but what we've been able to do now, we've taken it to the next step. We've launched an e-commerce site off of the Catholic Skull website. So you can get tie, you can get back issues of the newsletter and Tap Day programs. And we're launching great apparel like I'm wearing here. There's more. Caps.
Oh, yes. Impressive. Modern caps.
So if everyone could go to the Cap and Skull website right now, go to capandskull.com. Cap and Skull, spelled out. Hopefully we don't crash the website. So if you're using Safari, in the upper right corner, you'll see like three little lines. If you click that, you'll see the link for the gift shop. And then once you click that, you get the Shop Now button, and you can see all of the products we have available. And there'll be more coming in the next week. So the great thing about this, right, is you can use Apple Pay, you can use credit card, and Brian's company, they are warehousing all of the material for Cap and Skull, and they're donating these services to us. They're keeping the inventory. They can ship the stuff really anywhere in the world. So if we have Skull in London or Singapore, we'll send it to you. And it's a central place where you can go and get all of your Cap and Skull promotional needs met. So I'm really proud to have Brian here today. I hope you can stop by and just say hello to him. Because of all the hard work that they're putting in, I just want to make sure we're doing right by Brian and thank him. And maybe if you have a need with your business, you can talk to Brian. He's done amazing stuff, companies large and small, and a lot of great things to offer. So thank you, Brian, for everything you do. Before you can go to the website spelled one.rutgers.edu.
What was that, John?
one.rutgers.edu, ONE. So if you scroll past the Horseshoe Crab Head Start program, you will see a link to the Cap and Skull Class of 2017 crowdfunding campaign. So, events like today and everything that Cap and Skull does are funded by the generosity of our alumni and friends of Cap and Skull. So we're trying to raise $5,000 to give the class of 2018 kind of a head start on the funds they'll need for next year. So I don't want to talk too much about this, but if you are able, please consider making a gift to the crowdfunding campaign. Donations, large and small, are greatly accepted. I'm really excited to see where Cap and Skull is going. And the vibrancy on campus is just tremendous. So I just consider myself, every time I step on this campus, so lucky to be involved with this group. I'd like to bring up Joe Cashin, who's just going to briefly talk about the next phase of the reception here. Actually, if everyone can just head over to the other room, we're going to cut the cake. If you will.
And one last tradition we like to do is that the high skulls both cut the cake so we can have a little more dessert. So together, go ahead, take it away. Great job, great job.